Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to my Canadian Grand Prix preview. This is one of the races I look forward to most when I look at a Formula One calendar. More often than not, we get a great Grand Prix with lots of overtaking and lots of action. I cannot wait for this weekend. And 2017 threw up yet another brilliant race in Montreal. It was Lewis Hamilton who took pole position on the Saturday with a pole time of a 1:11.459. As is often the case in Canada, he went on to take the victory, setting the fastest lap along the way. And driver of the day went to Sebastian Vettel, and rightly so. What a drive from him. Lost a big chunk of his front wing after contact with Verstappen in the first corner and drove back through the field to 4th place. Also a great drive from Daniel Ricciardo as well last year. But to be honest, for race winner Lewis Hamilton, it was a fairly comfortable Grand Prix. One driver who had a fairly decent race last year was Lance Stroll. Of course, it is his home Grand Prix, but last year he started 17th on the grid and took his Williams to P9 and picked up a couple of points in the race. A really good drive, did his fair share of overtaking as well. And in theory, it is a track where Williams should go fairly well with that Mercedes power unit in the back, of course. Whether or not they will this year, it's not been a great start to 2018, but we shall have to wait and see. In terms of the track itself, it is 4.361 kilometres long. If you prefer that in miles, it is just over 2.7. There will be 70 laps on Sunday, which translates to a race length of 305.270 kilometres, or just short of 190 miles. As I've already said, it often throws up great racing with lots of overtaking possibilities. The hairpin at turn 10 is of course a favourite spot for overtaking, but with the long back straight, drivers will have a go into that final chicane, but it is definitely a risky move, particularly if they are not well alongside. And with that wall of champions waiting on the exit, it can go very wrong. Other mentions, turn 1 and 2, they throw up good opportunities, as can turn 6. But then to be honest, I could probably name most corners on the track. There are just so many great opportunities to pull and overtake in Canada, which is why it is such a popular Grand Prix. Strategy, of course, will also play a part, but it is nowhere near as vital as, say, in Monaco. If you get put back into traffic in Canada, you can overtake and recover. And as we've seen over the years, safety cars are highly likely in Montreal. However, despite the fact that overtaking is possible in Canada, and that the DRS zones already in place can be OP at times, particularly down the back straight, the FIA has decided to add a third DRS zone for this weekend's Grand Prix. The new zone runs between turns 7 and 8, with the detection point on the exit of turn 5. The tyres for this weekend are the same as they were in Monaco, the Super Soft, the Ultra Soft and the Hyper Soft. And in terms of driver selection, there's a real interesting mix, particularly when you look at Mercedes versus those that will be around them. Both Hamilton and Bottas are taking 5 sets of the Hyper Softs, 5 of the Ultras and 3 of the Supers. But if you look at Ferrari and Red Bull, as well as Force India and other teams as well, they are taking 8 sets of the Hyper Soft tyre. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that will play out over the course of the weekend. And of course, also really intrigued as to how well those Hypersofts will last, given how much they struggled in Monaco. You'd probably argue they'll be best as a qualifying tyre. There are a couple of news stories I do want to mention just ahead of this weekend. Adrian Newey has confirmed that Daniel Ricciardo will have to take multiple grid penalties this weekend. Now, initially last week, it was reported that he could actually avoid any grid penalties. However, that is now not the case. The Aussie has already used his allocation of control electronics, the energy stores and MGUKs, and is only one more change away from the limit on all other components. And we are just 6 races into the season. Adrian Newey simply stated, "Unfortunately, we will be taking penalties. We could be suffering some quite big penalties. We are only allowed 2 batteries, etc. and the system in that sense seems completely wrong." Interestingly enough as well, Adrian Newey has said that he only expects Renault's new power unit upgrade to deliver an extra 1/10 of a second per lap. So keep an eye on that and keep an eye on Honda, because we might get some clues there as to what Red Bull plan for the future in terms of their power unit supplier. And the other story I want to mention, Fernando Alonso has expressed concerns about McLaren's lack of power and expects it to hurt them this weekend. So far over the course of this season, McLaren have actually consistently been one of the slowest cars on the grid through the speed traps. And considering those long straights in Canada, the team could well struggle. Fernando Alonso stated, "Obviously we've been in Q3 in Barcelona and Q3 in Monaco. It will be nice to keep that trend in the next coming races and confirm our progress. but I think Canada is going to be challenging. It's a tough circuit with long straights. Our lack of speed, maybe, is a penalty there. It will be a good test for us. As I already touched on a moment ago, the Renault B-Spec arrives in Montreal at the weekend. McLaren will almost certainly be taking that upgrade, so the extra power should see less of a struggle down the long straights. But at the same time, if it is only a tenth of a second, it's not going to make a huge difference at all. And when you look at the season so far, McLaren have tended to be the slowest of the Renault-powered cars, which suggests, without getting too much into it, the team have other areas to worry about rather than just power. My one to watch this weekend was actually quite a tough call between Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon. So I suppose I could have gone with team to watch because I am really expecting Force India to do very well this weekend. The track will suit their car very nicely and they are continuing to improve. And both drivers went very well in 2017. I mean, it could have been a better race for the team had they let Ocon past Perez and then not been squabbling between them, but let's not jump back into that one. But Ocon's just going to edge it to be my one to watch this week, pretty much due to his impressive weekend in Monaco. And yes, the team is improving, but he himself is also improving, and he is bound to be on a high after that 6th place last time out. Before we have a look at my predictions, I did run a couple of polls on Twitter, as I always do before these race previews, asking who you believed would be on pole and who would go on to take victory on Sunday. 61% of you think that Lewis Hamilton will take pole position on Saturday, with 25% going for Sebastian Vettel, 9% for Bottas, and 5% of you think it will be somebody else. And 54% of you think that Lewis Hamilton will convert pole position into victory, with 32% going for Sebastian Vettel, very much a two-horse race there, 6% for Bottas, and 8% of you think that another driver will win, with Kimi Raikkonen and Daniel Ricciardo both mentioned. That would be a hell of a turnaround for Ricciardo if he could pull that one off. Those are your predictions, so let's have a look at mine then. Pole position, I'm going to give it to Lewis Hamilton. That Mercedes for me is still the quickest over the course of one lap, and I do expect that he will go on to win the Grand Prix. It is very much a Lewis Hamilton track. On the podium, I'm going to say Sebastian Vettel second and Valtteri Bottas in third. I'm also predicting a couple of safety cars and 3 retirements. That is it for the Canadian Grand Prix preview. Who do you think will take pole on Saturday? And who do you think will go on to claim victory on Sunday? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I will be back at 8 PM UK time tonight for F1 Daily, with the next video going up on the channel on Thursday. In the meantime, though, you can follow me on social media. Links to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and to Discord are all in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.